Now that you understand what net worth is, assets minus liabilities, we're going to talk about all the consumer debt that can decrease your net worth. For this video, we're focusing on credit cards. Unfortunately, a lot of gente start using credit cards without understanding how to avoid accumulating debt, which ends up decreasing their net worth. So I want you to listen up as I talk to you about in this video how you can make sure to use credit cards and still increase your net worth. A credit card is just a plastic or metal card that allows you to buy something without using your personal dinero. Every time you swipe your credit card, tap your credit card, or insert your credit card, you're borrowing money from the bank that issued that card to you to pay for that purchase. The bank decides how much you have to pay them back and when you have to pay them back. The bank also decides how much you can borrow, also known as your credit limit. And you can borrow como tú quieres. People who don't monitor how much they're charging to their credit cards can easily go over the ideal utilization rate. A lot of people think, I have a credit card and it has a limit of $1,000, so I can't spend more than $1,000 on that credit card. No, the ideal utilization rate is less than 30% of your available credit limit. So if you have a $1,000 credit limit, that means you shouldn't spend more than $300. In fact, it's a very common mistake because most people have a credit limit when they get their first credit card of $500, which means in order to stay within your ideal credit utilization rate, you shouldn't spend more than $150. That can get tricky, right? In fact, according to Experian, the average American has a credit card balance of $6,194 as of the second quarter in 2019. Those Americans will need to have an available credit of $20,647 in order to make sure that their credit utilization rate is not too high. I didn't have an available credit limit over $20,000 until my late 20s. And that's because your credit card limit is based on your income and your credit score. According to the Federal Reserve, Latinx families have some of the highest credit card debt compared to other ethnicities, which is why it's so important that everyone here understands the best practices when using credit cards. And one of the most important things that you should remember is to pay your credit card bill in full. Just imagine, you wouldn't want to be in a relationship like those in the novelas that are all toxic, right? You just let it go. The same thing with the balance. You don't need to carry that with you. Just let it go by paying it in full. When you use a debit card, the amount that you have to pay for your purchase is automatically deducted from your checking account. If you choose to buy something with your debit card that costs more than whatever you have in your checking account, you're gonna have to pay overdraft fees. This usually causes most people to be a lot more mindful of how they use their debit cards. And that's how mindful we need you to be with your credit cards. Don't charge something to your credit card that you cannot pay in full. That means don't charge something on your credit card if you don't already have the dinero that you need to pay for it in your checking account. If you can make sure to do that, then you can start using credit cards that offer rewards. Reward credit cards give you back something for every purchase. Reward cards can come in many different forms. They may offer you cash back. They may offer you points for travel, like airlines, hotel stuff, or even store credit cards. Ideally, if you're gonna use a credit card that offers rewards, you wanna make sure that you're buying stuff on that card that's gonna maximize the points that you get. So let's say you're somebody who's on the road a lot because you have to drive for your job, then maybe you want a reward credit card that gives you a high percentage back for gas. As long as you're paying your credit card bill in full each month, then basically these companies are paying you to spend money. But if you carry a balance, then ultimately you're not really getting any rewards back. Using your credit card along with your budget is a great way to make sure to protect your net worth from decreasing. You may choose to use your credit card for certain fixed expenses and then pay that bill in full each month. Or you may choose to charge a certain amount of flexible expenses on your credit card and then pay your bill in full each month. The key thing is to know ahead of time how much money you can charge to a credit card without going over your ideal utilization rate, and how much you can charge that you know you will be able to pay in full at the end of the month. If you can avoid the temptation of treating your credit card like it's just free magical dinero, then you're gonna be on track to building wealth long term. And you're also gonna avoid getting into debt. Be intentional about how you spend with your credit cards, and you're gonna be just fine. Time for a recap. In order to avoid going over the ideal utilization rate for any credit card, don't charge more than 30% of the available credit limit. Using credit cards and only making minimum payments will lead to an accumulation of debt and decrease your net worth. It is a best practice to only charge to your credit card what you can afford to pay in full when you get your credit card bill. Budgeting for the fixed and flexible expenses you plan to charge to a credit card is essential if you want to use reward credit cards. Thank you for being here and learning the best practices when it comes to using credit cards. See you in the next lesson.